What to do about Agile as a project manager. Today's topic on All Things Disciplined Agile. I am Joshua Barnes, and I'm once again joined by Chastine Lynch. Hi, Chastine.
Hello.
Before we get going, how about just giving a little introduction about yourself? I mean, this is the second time you've been on, but maybe refresh anybody who's out there watching.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Chastine Lynch. I am located here in Palmer, Alaska. Josh is on the other side of the nation, but we've had the ability to work together for about 4 years in and out. I've taken all of Josh's trainings. So I've been in project management for maybe 13 years. A very traditional project management in a very regulated industry. And then when I was fortunate enough to come across Disciplined Agile, which is PMI's Agile offerings, and I was able to meet up with Josh, I just instantly fell in love with it because I could see how I could combine the twos. And now I get to do all these amazing projects all over the world and then get to do things like share with everyone else what's out there.
Fantastic. Yeah. And so Chastine is also, so she's got a lot of background in project management. She teaches the PMP course, but she's also got experience not only in teaching Agile courses, but also using Agile ways of working with customers. And so today what we decided we'd do, at least for a portion of the live stream today, is I'm just going to kind of step into being a sort of mid-level in my career project manager with some questions, right? So I've met up with Chastine and I've been told about her background and experience. And one of the things that, right, I want to know is I want to know about Agile, and I want to know about possibly pursuing a professional certification like the PMP. Because, look, I've heard it's a lot of time and you know a bit of cost associated with it. So the PMPs, which they're a lot of the project managers, the project professionals in my organization, right? They don't really know a lot about Agile, and that's something that I'm interested in professional certification. But I also want to know that I don't have to take, right, like, you know, a dozen or a half dozen courses to kind of continue my learning. So is there, and how much, in your opinion, would I be able to learn about Agile and possibly Lean and some of the other ways of working if I were to take a PMP course?
Yeah, so I get to work with like Fortune 50 companies on really cool projects, and Agile has just permeated into the space of project management because of the way technology is and the way our industry is constantly changing, and we need to have those agile ways of working. So what's amazing is the PMP PMBOK 7 project management body of knowledge is 50% agile. And not only is it 50% agile content, but it shows you and it steps through how we take all the great structure and all the great standards from project management and we integrate the ideologies and methodologies that we find in Agile. So yeah, you can step away from the PMP exam prep course that I teach and have a very solid understanding of not only what Agile is, but how you would utilize it.
And right now, I kind of see it, you know, at least in my organization, right, that we are kind of the PMO and the project managers. We're a bit on the outside of these Agile teams, and I do want to know a little bit more about how Agile really, like, you know, if you have a good solid Agile way of working, right? If you're using Scrum, or you're using an iterative approach, we're using, you know, Disciplined Agile, and you know, anything in that sort of realm, you know, that I have a good understanding of what the teams could or should be doing maybe, and then also where I'm going to be able to continue to add more value, you know, as I hopefully get a little bit closer to these teams. So the next question I'd have then is, you know, so go through the course, right, take it from somebody obviously like you that's got all this great experience, but, you know, will I know enough for it to be actionable, or will I know enough to start to maybe, at least in the eyes of the, you know, the Agile team members, I'd be doing things that maybe they're not aware of, but would bring value or solve challenges, risks, impediments, whatever that we see these days?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You're going to have actually more of a comprehensive understanding than you would taking a framework, say, like Scrum, which is a great framework. It's very lightweight. Um, it, the PMP prep course in the PMBOK 7 doesn't focus solely on one framework. And so when you walk away from that PMBOK prep course that involves the PMBOK 7, what you get is more of that comprehensive understanding of agile, and so not focused just on one framework but many different offerings in agile, and again how you tie that into utilizing it with project management. So you actually end up with a fairly robust understanding of agile's application.
Okay, so I'll share with you. I've been poking around, right, some of the requirements for being a PMP and just some of the things that are on the PMI website. When you say PMBOK or you're saying PMBOK 7, I'm not exactly sure what that is and why. So I'm assuming if it's PMBOK 7 that there was a 6 and a 5. What is it? And what are the differences? So I know, right, a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. And so PMI Project Management Institute is really the governing body in project management and where we find our standards. And these project management body of knowledge have iteratively evolved over time as project management needs and requirements have evolved over time. And so from PMBOK 6, we depart from what I believe is like 1,300 pages, where we talk about our inputs, our tools, our techniques, our outputs, all these standards that come along with project management. And it's a very phase-gated approach because at the time, that's what made sense for project management. But the industry itself has really evolved, and we needed to adopt a more agile way of working. Because I know for myself, I have not worked the same project twice. I need to adjust how I work every time I go in with a new team, with a new client, with a new project, with a new scope. And so when we depart from PMBOK 6 and we move into PMBOK 7, which we've seen in the beginning of 2020, we get that agile adoption. And so it's not instead of, it's in addition to what we find in the PMBOK 6, in the PMI standards, and then how to utilize agile and what embodying agile as a project manager really means.
Yeah. Okay. So that makes a little more sense to me then, right? Because again, I mentioned a lot of the my colleagues that have already gotten professional certification. They've held their PMP credentials for a number of years, right? Some of them for quite some time, and their maybe lack of experience or knowledge in the agile ways of working space was one of the things that also not only concerned me a little bit, like, if I'm going to put the time in to take a PMP course, I definitely want to know that I'm getting some exposure to how agile works. But the other thing is that, I need to try and also make sure people in the organization, specifically some of the agile team members right, the teams that I work with, they understand also that, I'm going to be knowing more, and hopefully I'll be able to have different types of discussions with them. So from again, PMBOK, you said it's, the PM body of knowledge. What are some of these other bodies of knowledge? Like, what are some of the things that have agile content or content from Lean or content from other technologies, approaches that we're seeing in use today?
Oh, there's so many. There's what PMI offers in Agile, what it offers in Disciplined Agile, what it offers in project management, both the current offerings and the past offerings. And then in the PMP prep course, content that we cover actually spans over, for the current exam, it spans over about 9 recommended reading materials. And so what's nice about the course is we, instead of reading front to back all those books, is we include it in our prep exam, which also includes the content, that 1,300 page PMBOK 6, and the much lighter PMBOK 7, which is somewhere around 400 pages.
Yeah, that's definitely lighter. Okay, so here's something that comes up a lot, right? So as a project manager, I hear a lot of terms, right? Some I've heard enough or have been explained to me that I think I've got a reasonable understanding of what they mean. But there's a lot of other things that come up in conversation or in working sessions that I hear, and I'm not quite sure where I can go to learn more, or at least have something that provides some continuity across a lot of these terms and practices and so forth. Any thoughts?
Yeah. When I was studying for my PMP, and I like to share this because I like to be really transparent. When I took my first PMP, I failed. I didn't take a boot camp or a prep course. I was self-study, and I really thought I had a good grasp on the information. I went in there. Oh, I failed. And so I went back to the books. But when I was studying, the words are so esoteric. I really was like, who the hell talks like this? Who uses these words? And then lots of people use these words. And so one of the things I super love, I have such a passion about Disciplined Agile, and I'm grateful it's how you and I met. And so the Disciplined Agile offering offers this huge breadth, this huge scope of knowledge and terminology and descriptions. So instead of reading what I would imagine would be somewhere close to like 100 books, you can go and search through Disciplined Agile and get a ton of things. There it is, the DA browser.
Yeah, the DA browser, right.
Yeah, I go to this thing daily. I honestly, use this in my everyday offerings. And what's really great is when you're trying to bring a team member into understanding a process, because I feel like sometimes you go into a spot where people think your project management skills are voodoo and you're just making things up and there's no rhyme or reason to it. And so you can go here and be like, hey, here's what we're doing. Here's the progression of why we're doing it. And then here's our trade-offs, our pros, our cons. What do you guys think? And it's a great way to bring your team into the conversation and help them understand there is actually a rhyme and reason and purpose as to why we're doing these structured events.
Yeah, so let me demonstrate a little bit of the DA browser, and I'll go through maybe, searching a couple things, and then Chastine, you can kind of also just say, go here, go there, and some of the things that maybe you see up quite a bit, right? So for those of you that aren't aware, the DA browser, PMI has made this completely free. So I'm not logged into my PMI account. All you need to do is go to the link that we've got up there, and you get access to this tool, right? So this is the DA browser tool, also referred to as really the DA knowledge base. And what we find here is an arrangement of content that really spans the majority of all of the Agile ways of working. You can find content from Scrum, from the Scaled Agile framework, from extreme programming. I mean, all the things that we've got available to us from an Agile perspective, right? As well as some proprietary content that is just, you're going to only find it within the DA guidance. Mm-hmm. So this is a very robust body of knowledge, and it is arranged according to the process goals, which I'm going to get to in just a moment. So going to this tool, right, I'm going to kind of just give you a quick demo of it. So we're in the inception phase. There are phases in Disciplined Agile for our team-based life cycles, specifically the Agile life cycle, which is a time-boxed approach, as well as the Lean life cycle, which uses the same phases, which is a flow-based or a Kanban-based approach. So one of the great things is that you can click around and, DA from what's the biggest competitor from a guidance perspective? And it's not some of those other frameworks that I mentioned. It's really Google, right? A lot of times if I was in that role of that project manager, right, I'm realizing that I do need to get myself, upskilled a bit more, both from a knowledge and an experience perspective with Agile ways of working, right? I might be going to Google and finding content, or, right here on LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. The great thing about the DA browser is that it's an aggregator of all of this information, and it provides it not only in a easy to find sort of path. But it also provides continuity in the information that is here. So I'm not finding sort of a lot of disparate references. And as somebody that might be, again, somewhat new to Agile, again, stepping back into the role of the project manager that I was playing, I don't have to try and determine, depending on Google results, if I'm finding something that's accurate or in alignment with what maybe industry references are going to be providing.
Mm-hmm.
So, right, you can go through and click, and if I were like, oh, let's see, explore scope, and right, so there's this process goal diagram, and so this is a split screen, right? So I can move the lower third down here a bit more to get the process goal diagram to see it a little bit better. And I'm going to move that back up just so anyone out there can see this content. And I'm on Explore Scope, and there is some information here I could read through. I could also click on something like Explore Usage, right? So it's called a decision point, like how we're going to explore the usage of our solution. A little bit more information here. And then for each one of the options, right, these are typically going to be Agile or Lean practices or techniques. I could click on one, click on user story, right? And down in the bottom, what it's going to do is it's going to give me a brief description of what a user story is. It's going to give me some trade-offs. That's what these bullet points are. And for not all, but a lot of these options, I'm going to be able to click on additional resources, and it'll take me, right, it provides links to go for an additional depth of information that's consistent with what we're finding, not only for what a user story is here, but also in connection to these other practices and content that we're going to find within this knowledge base.
User story, Josh, is such a great example too, because it's such a common term in really all Agile frameworks, or most. It means close to nothing in traditional project management. So if you're kind of trying to integrate in, you're like, what is a user story? You can come here and increase your knowledge.
Yeah. And you can search. So let's say, right, we're in a a working session, and one of our, we hear our, a team lead, a team level Agile coach, a Scrum Master say something about Kanban.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know. I don't see anything here on the left, right? The navigation on left. So what I can do is click the magnifying glass, right? Open a little search, and I'll type in Kanban. And this also is a split screen. So I'll just kind of raise this up a little, and I see, well, Kanban board. Kanban is tied into the lean lifecycle. There's all sorts of results where you can click on it, and it'll take you in this body of knowledge to go to visualize the existing process, what a Kanban board is, and then I have some information. So now there is a lot in this tool. Sometimes we hear in sort of the DA space that, oh, it's it's so big and there's so much information, and more information keeps getting added in every release. I could say the same thing about Wikipedia. I mean, would Wikipedia be a better sort of thing to go to and look for content if it had 1,000 pages versus, I don't know how many pages Wikipedia has, 1 million or 10 million, I wouldn't even know. But as long as you understand how to navigate through this, you're able to find information relative easily. And then again, you've got an opportunity, if there are additional resources, to continue to get more and more depth of content if that's what's needed. But yeah, as a team member, as a project manager, as an operational manager, this is just one of the things that I don't think is anywhere well known as it should be, that we are able to go to this wonderful tool for free, this big toolbox of information, and find stuff.
Yeah.
And do you use this in your PMP training?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually give examples of, because for example, Explore Scope. This is the bane of existence for project managers and Agile teams alike, right? This is so painful to get through. And so in both the DA trainings, obviously, and then in the PMP, I like to give real life examples, and we go through and we solve them, or we start to solve them with the DA browser. Because it's so applicable. And, we have in project management, we have Edward Deming, who is, just kind of a forefather for improvement in project management. We see it again, the Kaizen loop, plan, do, check, act. And what is great about the DA browser is when you plan, do, check, and what you did didn't work. What do you do next? You can go to the browser, because if in this scenario, what you didn't work, and that's what you usually do, where do you go next? You
Right.
can get to the DA browser and find a new option, a new approach that will really broaden your skills and your ability to push through these really difficult parts in project management and or agile, like explore and scope.
Yeah. So a lot of the organizations we have an opportunity to work with, we provide the DA knowledge base, right? Not only to just the team members on the delivery teams, but the project managers, the program managers, operational managers, right? We frequently are showing them how to use that as well to find relevant information, so they understand when somebody uses a term, or when a term is being used, also to make sure that everybody's got a good understanding of what it is, since there's no standardization in terms out in the marketplace. So we have we're seeing a few things in the comments. So let me pull a few of these up. Yes, Derek. Yeah, PMI. Yeah, they acquired the intellectual property of DA back in August of 2019, and have continued to evolve it ever since. How about this? So yeah, definitely, right. Just understanding, going through a training course, or like a PMP certification course based on PMBOK 7 that has agile and hybrid content isn't going to make you an agilist. Definitely not, but it is going to at least raise your awareness and get you going in a direction that you understand not only an agile way of working, but some of the things that, again, agile teams are going to be able to benefit from. Chastine, anything else you'd like to add in for on Ernest's comment?
Yeah, shortly after Agile came onto the scene, of that permeation into industries outside of software, it felt like there was kind of this street fight of Agile or project managers, like you're one or the other, and there was like this delineation, which one are you? What's great about this training is it really breaks down those barriers to say you're one or the other. You can be both, and either side improves your ability to have an agile mind frame. And so that's what I love, so much about this particular course is it shows you, doesn't just tell you, it shows you how we can use both to improve our ability to deliver value for the business.
Yeah, let me just pull up, see, Whistle. Couldn't agree more. Continuous learning is the key, right? I mean, that's one of the tenets and benefits of Lean, right, is continuous learning. So, yeah, we'll just say, Derek, yeah, it is cool. It is free.
Yeah.
And I don't see that there are any other questions. So, Chastine, I'll ask, is there anything else that you'd like to share today as far as, project managers and what to do about Agile?
Yeah. Well, I do have some courses coming up here, virtual courses. One at the end of January. You can find these courses at Process Mentors website and check that out. If you're interested, you can always message me on LinkedIn. I am one of the few and very proud disciplined agile state representatives for Alaska. I think in the beginning there was a lot of us. I stuck with it because I love it, and I'm really, really passionate about bringing disciplined agile and other agile techniques into our project management and letting people know it can be both. And in doing so, increases your skill set and your knowledge base to a level that really allows you to grow in the industry. And it's really, it's a great offering. I love it. So message me on LinkedIn for any questions that you have. I'm always available.
Fantastic. Well, thanks again for joining me today. And thank you all that are in attendance live, or if you're watching this on replay, by all means, post any additional questions or comment, or reach out directly and message Chastine for any questions that she might be able to answer to you. And if you have any topics in the project management, project professional, and agile space, let us know. We'd be happy to address them in an upcoming episode. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.